All right. Can you guys on Zoom hear me? Let's check this before we get rolling.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Austin, can you guys hear us loud and clear?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Go ahead and try that one more time, Austin.
Can you hear us now?
Yep, I can hear you. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. Appreciate it. All right. And we've all got a manual. Perfect. Still one of those as well. Yeah, Spark is what we're wanting. Oh, these all elementals? There's one. Oh, it's also instructor. There's two more boxes. Let me, I think those are elementals too. No, I think they just labeled them wrong. Yeah, because here's a Spark, but this is. Yeah, I'll text him to bring another one down. Is yours instructors as well? Does yours say instructor as well on the front? Okay, all right. Okay, does everybody have Apple here? Let me airdrop the manual for today, and then they'll bring them down for us. But I believe the person that has them in their car is out at lunch right now. So let me just send these to you. That pull up for you? Okay. Okay, great. Those who are on Zoom, thank you guys for being patient. We had another class in here before this meeting, and it took a little bit while for us to be able to get set up after them. So glad we're all here. Did everybody receive that? No? I don't see yours popping up, actually. It may need to be discoverable by everyone. There we go. Got it. Cool. Let's go ahead and get started. Great. Before we jump in, we have quite a few people on Zoom, which is great. When you guys have some feedback, please feel free to jump on and share some thoughts. We have 3 people here in class, since you guys cannot see. And yeah, we're gonna have a good class. So today's all about language. Powerful language gets results, and specifically focusing on scripts. And before we dive into that, though, let's just go ahead and do a quick introduction, and then we'll dive in. So Bryson, you want to start us off? Just a quick intro. Cool. Nice. Awesome. Great. Yeah. Great. And let's get some intros on Zoom. Austin, you want to start us off?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so my name is Austin Polson. I just got my license a month or 2 ago with Keller Williams, and first time getting a license, so I'm just getting going. And this is my second time through Ignite, but I guess this is the new Ignite, so that's I'm excited for it.
Awesome, thank you. Who's next?
I'll go next. My name's Travis Wing. I got invited by Shoney. I'm currently doing my real estate course, but figured I'd get a jump on things. Did door-to-door sales for like a bajillion years, so Shoney thought, hey, jump in and see what I've got to offer. So I'm here.
Glad to have you, Travis. Thanks.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
My name's Todd. I have my test scheduled with the state on February 11th. So just like Austin, just trying to get a head start.
Great. Thanks, Todd. Awesome. Cool. So I appreciate you guys. And this is going to be far more of an interactive class than the previous 2. This one is all about immediately implementing some of the things that we're learning. And so we'll be able to group together and really just crowdsource some wisdom. So to start off with, session 3, again, is all about powerful language and specifically how to maximize the use of scripts. And so we're going to dive in on how that can support the previous 2 modules that we went through, which was number 1, basically fuel your business, identifying your why, identifying the reasons why you're in real estate, and then number 2, which was really managing and maximizing your database and leveraging those 2. So now it's about how do we put fuel on the fire through conversations, through really using our language as a powerful tool. And so that's what we're going to dive through. Let's see, those are going to be the manuals for us. Hey, are you able to bring that box down? Great, thank you. Bye. So what we're going to work on throughout the entire course of Ignite is really working on what top agents do effectively that gets them their results. And so this whole initial foundation piece, the first 9 sessions is all about building a solid foundation to build on. And then the second 9 sessions are all about really enhancing your business. So really putting fuel on the fire. And so it'll be a little bit more of a deeper dive in February, which we'll start. But today we're going to be going through a recap. Again, every session we'll talk about this, and it's what successful agents do every day that's really amplifying their business. There's 2 pillars that they focus on: growing your business and running the business. And identifying that both of those work hand in hand to help you have a successful real estate career. And so you can't just focus on one and neglect the other, because, for example, if you focus only on growing your business and not running it, you actually have a breakdown in the quality experience that your clients have. And vice versa, if you only focus on running the business, you're going to find very quickly that your lead source or your pipeline ends up drying up. And so you don't have any more business to focus on. So you got to make sure that you have a balance within your business of focusing some of your activities on growing your business and some of your activities on running the business. And that's what successful agents do every day, is they focus on both of these. So just to go through the list on grow the business, it's really focused on lead generating for buyers and sellers, making seller listing presentations and getting listings, making buyer presentations and getting listings, and previewing real estate. On running the business, it's all about market seller listings, showing your buyers, show buyers houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management, and closing, vendor management, set goals, compliance risk management, attend training and get coaching, and manage money. So there's a list of different activities that are done on a daily basis. Let's go ahead and break this box open and grab you guys these manuals. Thank you. Let's see, should be. Yep, 3rd time's the charm. The other ones were Spark, but they're facilitators, so thank you. There you go, Bryson. Yep. You're welcome. Great. So now we're on track. So section 3 is where we should be, or Spark number 3. So bringing it back, the goal of our time here is really just to model what successful agents are doing on a consistent basis. And today's session, these are the action steps that we're going to be focusing on, highlighted in red. So on the grow your business side, we're going to be focusing on almost every aspect. And then on the run the business side, we're going to be focusing on show buyer houses, negotiate contracts, and transaction management all the way through closing. So today's focus is going to be on scripts and the purpose of scripts, the power of scripts, and how they can really support your business at the next level. And really what it comes down to is it's not what you say, but it's how you say it that matters. And so we're going to practice how we can really take our scripts to the next level through practice and really just amplify that communication aspect. And to get started, it really starts with understanding that how you communicate with yourself matters, not just how you communicate with your clients. And so, that really comes down to self-empowering beliefs as well as the negative limiting beliefs, and identifying those 2 dynamics that we focus on. So we'll work on removing limiting beliefs and then also implementing valuable scripts that can support your financial goals for 2021. So we'll have about an hour today of going through content, and then the rest is really going to be just practice, so putting it into implementation. And just want to highlight that Ignite 2.0 is really different than the old Ignite sessions, because this one is all about taking radical action, taking massive action. And really, as soon as you learn something, implementing it and starting to see results immediately. So the goal of Spark 2.0 is to get you, get a contract within the first 2 weeks, or get an appointment, excuse me, within the first 2 weeks, get under contract within 30 days. And so that's why it's all heavily focused on action and making sure that we're doing the steps that are going to be leading to results down the road. So just kind of a little timeline here of what we're going to focus on today. We'll go through the benefits of using scripts. We will role model and role play memorizing scripts. We'll role play script practice, recap and ha-has, and then the daily success habits. So we'll identify what are the things I want to focus on between now and the next session to really move the ball forward in my business. Cool. So let's have a conversation. So today's focus is really about memorizing and internalizing scripts. And there's a few different things that scripts help you with. So if you open up to page, let me actually grab my own book so I can see what you guys are seeing. Okay, so first let's talk about the importance of scripts. Is Caitlin, is that right? Cool. Caitlin, would you mind reading the value of different scripts, so just the bullet points there? Awesome, thank you. So really to highlight these, scripts help you control the conversation, and they also help you to infuse purposeful language to make sure that clients are moving throughout the process, okay? And so scripts are a way for you to be able to plan ahead on different objection handlers, rebuttals, and ways of introducing different ideas to clients to help them really grasp these concepts. And that's what we're going to talk through today is what does that look like? They also help you to communicate your value. So your value proposition, oftentimes there can be a disconnect simply by the language you use. And so making sure that you're planning ahead as far as what you want to say to make sure that your value is correctly received from your client is an important aspect as well. And then lastly is scripts really just help you to build confidence. And when it's something that's so second nature, it's just natural and normal for you to say, it's a lot easier to be able to, embody confidence when you're going into a conversation. So I want to pause. Do you guys have any questions, either those who are on Zoom or in the room? Do you guys have any questions on what we've gone through so far? Cool. Let me hide this for us. Lexi, would you mind reading those different phrases? Awesome. So have you guys heard anything like this or similar before when you're at a convenience store or a service industry store, right? When I was 16 years old, I worked at McDonald's and I still have that script in my head, right? Which is, welcome to McDonald's, can I take your order? It's very simple, right? But everywhere, every place you go, most of the times they have scripts that they've memorized. And, in real estate, obviously there's a huge financial opportunity for us, and it's because there's a little bit different level of scripts that we got to memorize, right? And practice. And so I'm curious if you guys can think of some other scripts that you may have heard, either in a service industry or in a sales industry that come to mind. Chick-fil-A. What's theirs? Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's one I had written down too. It's a simple one. I like that. So for those on Zoom, Caitlin said Chick-fil-A with the common script that they use of my pleasure. And it's interesting that all retail stores, all service industries have scripts, okay? And so when we get clear about what to say and how to say it at the highest level, it actually brings a lot of power to our business. And so scripts are only successful when combined. This is interesting. Scripts are only successful, and remember this, scripts are only successful when combined with the person's knowledge of that industry. So the point of, for example, using a script on, let's just say a connection call, right? You call somebody and they have no idea you're calling to have a conversation about real estate, but your goal is obviously to have a real estate conversation. Now, what happens if they start asking you about the market because of your intro script, but you have no idea of what to communicate to them after that, right? They start asking you about the market. How are rates doing? And you're like, I actually don't know what rates are at right now. Or they start asking you what the Utah market specifically, where the direction is headed. And you don't have the knowledge or the information for that. And so that's another aspect of well, is making sure that you're properly prepared and you are becoming a market expert in this field so that you have the right information to communicate, right? After the script has done its job with getting them interested. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. So if you'll turn to page 4 in the guide. And we're going to start by with the question of what is a limiting belief? Any ideas, Bryson? Yeah. Great. Love it. So the question then is, how can a limiting belief hold you back from achieving what you want? Yeah, definitely. And sorry, I apologize again. I'll start passing around the mic for those who are on Zoom so you can hear. Bryson talked about how limiting beliefs are these ideas in our minds that hold us back. And, it's interesting. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality and the story you tell it consistently. So actually, over time, if you keep telling yourself these negative thoughts, right, where it's like, I don't have the right information, I don't have the right support, whatever it may be, eventually it starts to believe that's true. And so, a big focus, especially in not just in sales, but in life as a whole, it's important to be able to be aware of those thoughts, but then also to reframe them, right, to reform them into empowering beliefs that are going to support the vision or the goals that you have for yourself. And so limiting beliefs are just simply negative thoughts or self-talk that hold you back. That's what they are. And so on page 4, we're going to go through a little practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 minutes. 3 minutes to fill out the first and second question on page 4, which is write down limiting beliefs that have held you back when making phone calls. So this one's all, primarily focused on calling your SOI, calling leads, and really doing the most important action that leads to success in real estate, which is making contacts. So just take 3 minutes to write out those answers, to question A. Write down limiting beliefs that have held you back when making phone calls. And then the question B is, for each limiting belief listed in A, record a way that you already have a plan to remove that limiting belief. So what the limiting belief is, and then what the plan is to overcome that limiting belief. So go ahead and take 3 minutes to write those down. All right, we'll take 60 more seconds. All right, so now what we're going to do is a little exercise. And what you're going to do is grab a partner. And for those who are on Zoom, I'm going to put you into something called a breakout room. So it's going to team you up with another person to be able to do this one-on-one. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through part 2 on page 4. So it says pick a limiting belief you listed in part A from above and record it below. And then with your partner, draft a short set of steps you can take to overcome the limiting belief from part A. So you're taking one of those limiting beliefs that you have, and then you're going to come up with some ideas. You're going to brainstorm with your partner on how to overcome that limiting belief. You're going to take just 2 to 3 minutes each and then switch. Then the second person will go, okay? So those who are on Zoom, I'm going to send you to breakout rooms now, and then I'll bring you back in just a couple minutes. Same open.
I don't think we're in breakout rooms.
Speaking? That's not in a breakout room?
Austin?
But I'm in one of you.
Okay.
Todd.
Let me see. There we go. All right, let me bring these guys back in. Once they get back in the room, we will proceed. All right, Austin, Joe, Todd, can you guys hear us again?
I can hear you.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Perfect. So let's go ahead and let's get some shares from that activity. What were some ahas? What stood out to you, and what did you learn about your limiting beliefs? Caitlin? I'm going to pass this to you so that they can hear us.
Being so new, my overwhelming limiting belief is that I just don't know enough about the market. And that when I'm talking to people, they're going to be able to tell that I'm new and I don't know what I'm talking about, which the way to combat that is educate myself, be prepared for my calls going into it. If I know the lead is looking for something specific, I'm going to look into that and try and get as much information as I can prior to that call, and attending trainings like this and asking questions on my calls, and then also asking questions to my colleagues to get advice of specific listings and stuff like that, how to approach it so it actually converts into something.
Great. Love it. So what I hear is like really understanding that you have so many resources around you to support that journey and really kicking off your real estate career. And that's great. Appreciate it. Thank you. Who else? And if you're on Zoom, feel free to chime in if you'd like to share one of those limiting beliefs that you talked through or that you recognized. Lexi?
Mine is if like they turn me down or the call, something on the call goes weird or just bad, or I'll get in my head and kind of just think about that and be like, I can't do this. Like, I don't have the potential. I'm not capable. And so a lot of my things are to just be able to accept the rejection and move on, to not just get down on myself, and to just always keep learning and keep moving forward.
Great, thank you. What's interesting is that, and Austin, Joe, Todd, did any of you guys want to add some input on limiting beliefs?
I can add mine.
Cool.
So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So one of my big limiting beliefs is when I reach out to people, I'm going to be inconveniencing them and just bothering them and wasting their time. And so one of the ways that I can solve that is remembering, and partially through what you mentioned earlier in the lesson today about making sure that we ourselves understand what we're doing and believe that we're out to help people. And that's a big Keller Williams thing too, is making sure everyone has a win-win situation and that we're serving people. And so when I keep that in mind and remember those things, then it helps me to feel like I'm imposing less and I'm extending an opportunity more than anything. So that's what I got.
Yeah, That's great. And let me turn this down a little bit. So, and I appreciate you sharing that, because coming from a mindset of contribution radically changes your willingness to get uncomfortable and place yourself in uncomfortable situations. And that is a very common one, feeling like, oh, well, I've had those thoughts before where it's like, maybe I shouldn't call at 9 because they're like getting into their workflow and I might interrupt it or whatever it may be. Or like, oh, I don't want to call after 5:30, like it might be their family time. And so we have these thoughts that come into our mind that prevent us from taking action. But in reality, if somebody is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate anyways, they're going to have that conversation at some point. And so we need to have enough trust in our own value proposition, in the value that we're going to bring to the table, to know that that conversation is necessary and they're going to welcome it. And also, one thing that we talked about last time, I asked the question of, do we live in the most connected time in history or the most disconnected time in history? And the consensus was kind of both, right? And what I will tell you is that people crave connection. That's what people want in today's age. And I think that COVID really brought that to light. It just kind of illuminated that aspect of the human experience, that people want to connect. They want you to reach out. And it's very rare that you'll have an interaction where you call somebody in your SOI and it's a negative feedback or bad experience. It's more on the, it's very unlikely compared to how many amazing conversations you are going to have. And we did the math as well when looking at the amount of people who are in your phone contact list and doing the math on how many potential deals there are locked up right within your phone, right? And the only missing factor is identifying who it is that's going to need to make a move within the next year. And so I appreciate you guys for sharing those limiting beliefs, because when we get aware of them, we're then able to reframe them. And so that's one thing that I will suggest, is by figuring out what limiting beliefs are holding you back in business and life, and then creating empowering beliefs, creating affirmations. And what you have to do with those is you have to tell yourself these things consistently, right? So find out the empowering beliefs that you want to implement, and then make it an effort to spend 5 minutes every day of planting those seeds of the empowering, important beliefs that you want to really latch onto. And know it takes time. So as you do those consistently, again, our mind starts to believe those stories, right? So I did this when I was first getting into sales, knocking doors. I was terrified to knock doors. And one of the affirmations I stole from Tony Robbins is I would always say, I'm full of confidence, power, focus, and complete resilience. And I would say that over and over and over again, going between doors. And it probably took me about 1.5 years to 2 years to like really start believing it. But that's the power of your mind. Your mind starts to believe these stories, you tell it consistently, whether they're true or not. So you might as well plant the right seeds and know that those are going to gain root over time as well. Okay. Any questions or last feedback on this piece? Cool. So let's go ahead and cover the benefits of using scripts. And let's just start with the question of, why is it important for real estate agents to use scripts? Bryson? Yeah. So, which KW is really big on, use models, right? Somebody's already found success in real estate. Why not just copy what they're doing instead of trying to create your own path, you can navigate and really shorten the learning curve by just copying models. And so scripts allow you to do that at a high level. You can find some of the best scripts that are out there very easily with KW and be able to just simply implement that as a daily practice of just remembering what those scripts are and utilizing those. So thanks for sharing. What else? Why else is it important for real estate agents to use scripts? Yeah, helps you really navigate where the conversation should be at each moment. That's great. What do you think it does for your confidence level when you already know what to say? Helps a lot, right? That's probably one of the most common reasons why people don't get on the phone is because they say, I don't know what to say, right? So having scripts memorized helps you to overcome that. But then also it gives you a little bit more flexibility within the conversation because the script is second nature. It's something you can do without having to think about, which gives you the ability to flow with wherever the conversation is going and to also be able to bring it back on track if you start to notice that it tracks off. Now, one thing as well is I'll say that it's a part of mastering your craft. And so one of the biggest focuses, with like graduating, let's say to that black belt, right, in real estate is identifying how you can get so good at doing your scripts that you're able to then jump into your calls and have a successful contacting session each day, which is going to lead to the results that you want in your business. And where that starts, this works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't want to. Let's see. So where that starts is in understanding scripts. So scripts build confidence in job ability. Scripts allow you to stay focused on the conversation and in the present moment. And scripts allow for consistency in what is said and actions that agents take. So I want to ask, what are some of your guys' experiences with learning or using scripts? Could be good, bad, ugly. Oh, great. Yeah. Awesome. That's actually how I am as well. And so I can't read through a whole paragraph and just, do the script. I got to have some specific bullet points and then just kind of flow through it naturally. That's how my brain likes to work with scripts.
What was that last comment? I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, I'm actually going to let Mary say it herself. That way you guys can hear it from her.
So for me, it's really challenging to read a script and go word for word. I really like bullet points where I can flow through the general structure of the thoughts that I need to go through without it feeling awkward or not sounding like me.
Thank you. So let's dive into that. Let's talk about how to use scripts at a high level. So if you'll turn to page 5 in the guide. And let me see if this video will play for us. If not, we will skip it. Great.
Hi, I'm Jeff Glover, and I'm going to tell you the top 5 things that you need to know about using scripts. Step 1, you're going to need to get your scripts from a top agent at the office, your team leader, a MAPS coach, or of course Keller Williams University. Step 2, we're going to need to do a total transformation of, instead of talking and telling, of asking questions. Selling isn't telling, selling is asking a series of questions that leads to desired response. So instead of talking so much, we need to get in the habit of asking questions. And asking questions gives us control of the conversation. Control of the conversation gives us our ultimate outcome, which is an appointment set or a closing. Step 3, we need to listen with good intentions. Well, what I mean by that is we need to listen to their answers instead of just listening to them talk and asking another question that comes to mind. For example, instead of asking a seller where they're moving to and then going on to the next question, how soon would you like to be there? Ask them, where are you moving to? And when they give you a response, ask them, what takes you there? Step 4 in becoming better at scripts is we need to learn to mimic, mirror, and match the prospect. What I mean by that is we have to listen to their tone of voice. We have to speed up or slow down based on how fast the prospect is talking. That means when they respond and say, we're moving to Toledo, oh, Toledo, that's exciting. What takes you there? 93% of communication is body language and tonality. And that means only 7% are the words that we say or the questions that we ask. Step 5, we need to take these 5 points and practice them daily. If you think of NFL teams, they practice 50, 60 hours on the practice field for a 1-hour game. Our game is our presentations and our appointments, and we need to practice daily everything that we've learned every single day before we meet with our clients. When it comes to scripts, my biggest aha is that everybody has their own scripts. We're pre-programmed to have scripts, and we're talking and asking questions that are scripted. However, what we found is that most of our own scripts are no good. And so we have to learn the right scripts, the right questions to maintain control of the conversation. Thanks for watching KW Connect. Make it a great day.
Let's chat about that. So first, what did you guys notice? What are some things that stood out to you as he talked about the importance of scripts? Let me grab this mic for you. I'll be the runner.
I think when he said asking the right questions, and it helps them know that you care specifically about them and what they're wanting instead of just trying to sell them.
Great. Something on that, a mentor told me that the quality of our lives are determined by the quality of questions we ask ourselves. And I think that the quality of your sales experience is the same. It's determined by the quality of sales questions or questions you ask your client. So getting very clear about the type of questions and the right questions you want to ask. That's great. What else stood out? What about body language? Did anybody catch how much percentage of communication is picked up through body language? 93%.
Was it like 93%?
Yeah, Austin, 93%. Which is wild. 7% is the words you say and your tonality. Which means at the end of the day, like, that's why we really don't have to worry much about what we say. It's how we say it. And when I say how you say it, that means body language is an important key of that. So I learned this knocking doors, where in the first about 15 seconds, you'll know if you've got a pretty good chance at selling a person or not. First impression is everything. And so, I've knocked and one thing he talked about in this video is you want to match and mirror. Does anybody know what that is? What that means? What does that look like? Lexi.
Like if you're high energy, then I should be high energy. If you're lower energy, I should be lower energy, just to be similar to them so they can feel like they relate to you.
Yeah. People who are like themselves or who are like somebody they would like to be like. And so, just a simple example of this, I've sold in Los Angeles, California. I've sold on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, Virginia Beach, Chicago, Ohio, Indianapolis, Texas. I've sold pretty much everywhere, door to door. And what I've realized is that different parts of the country, people are very different. And you have to very quickly be able to acclimate to people's different personalities. And so one example of that is what we would do is on the East Coast, this was pretty big, but you'd have people who are very aggressive. And so they would come out of the door and say, "What do you want?" And we'd have to match that very quickly. I'm coming out because it's so important. We're coming out about the satellite, and then I would be able to go back into my normal tonality. So I match them initially, but then over time I can kind of make it more of who I am. Does that make sense? I can bring more of my personality in. But in the intro, I'm going to match them. If I had a little old lady open the door, I would kind of stand back a little bit more, and I'd kind of like hunker down and say, "Hey, my name is Shoney. How are you doing?" And I'd be far more gentle in those situations. And same thing with like the speed at which you talk is another part of that, right? So people on the East Coast might be a little bit quicker than the people in the Midwest. And so being able to pick up on people's preferences. But body language is the most important part. And so you can do that. Matching and mirroring is as simple as like whatever way they are interacting, right? If they're using their hand gestures or if they're folding their arms, you can simply just mimic that. And what that does is it builds rapport. Subconsciously, they don't even understand what it is. They just like, I don't know what it is about this person, but I like this Caitlin. She's awesome. That's what's happening on the subconscious level just through the way that you copy their body language. Okay? So really focusing in on matching and mirroring. Whatever they're doing with their body, you do it as well. Just don't make it super obvious, right? As soon as they cross their arms, you cross their arms. As soon as they cross your leg or their leg, you cross your leg. They're going to pick up on that. But as much as possible, you want to really just try and connect and just be mindful of that. Cool. What else stood out to you guys? And let me ask you some of these questions. What is the benefit of asking questions versus telling in a conversation? Why ask questions instead of just tell?
I feel like a big part of sales is finding the pain points of individuals and finding what they actually need and want. And you're just wasting your time, both your time, if you're just spewing out a bunch of information, trying to tell them everything you know, instead of figuring out the details or the exact efficient points that you should be discussing.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Sorry, guys. What are some of the things that you can do in a conversation to show the other party that you're truly listening?
Repeat back what they say in a different way.
Yeah, that's what Mary was just saying, is to reiterate some of the things that they're saying. Did you catch I just did that? Okay. So rephrasing some of the things that people are saying helps them to pick up on, oh, this person's actually listening. What are some other ways you can do that? Yeah, so you can ask additional questions to follow up on their statement, which shows, again, that you're listening. What are some simple ways? What are some gestures when using body language? Nodding. Smile.
Leaning forward a little bit.
Yeah, leaning in to the conversation. So being able to use body language, right? And again, that's probably one of the biggest ones, is just simply like agreeing, right? Being in agreement by simply nodding your head and smiling acknowledges that, oh, this person's picking up what I'm sharing. And so those are some simple ones that you can practice in every situation. You can practice this at home with your kids. You can practice at home with your husband or wife, with a family member or friend, at the gas station. This is something to be practicing. It's just the art of communication. Okay. And then one question is, how does tone of voice and body language affect the conversation? What do you think? Yeah. How does body language and tone of voice actually affect or impact the conversation? Mm-hmm. I think that realizing it builds trust. That's one of the important factors. And that's how we get more business, right? Is by building relationships of trust. So using effective communication skills, body language, tonality, to build more trust is a huge win, right? So that's also another powerful aspect of scripts. It's when you know something so well that you can just recite it without having to think about it. Now you can focus on listening and communicating instead of listening, or instead of just focusing on, what do I need to say? Focusing on, I need to remember these words. Okay. So turn to page 6 in the guide. And we're going to just get into 2 groups really quick. And we're going to answer this question, which is, what are 3 negative consequences of failing to learn scripts? So we're going to brainstorm this together, and then we'll bring it back to the group. I am going to try and send you guys on Zoom to another breakout room. And again, if it doesn't work, just shout out, let me know. But let's go ahead and just take 2 minutes, team up, and just brainstorm some ideas on answering that question together. Austin, Joe, and Todd, are you guys back with us?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So let's hear some of the ideas that you guys came up with. What are 3 negative consequences of failing to learn scripts? Caitlin? Lack confidence. Yeah. Mary? Yeah, quickly lose interest when there's the awkward silence. Great. What else? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have flow within your conversation. One of you guys on Zoom want to chime in?
I really like something that Todd said. He had mentioned that having scripts lets you kind of gives you control of the conversation, and also in doing so will make you seem more professional, and people can trust you more and will listen to you more if you have that leadership or that type of personality and everything. So I thought that was great. So if you don't have the scripts, then you don't have any of that.
Great, thank you. So in order to internalize scripts and to make them our own, to be able to make them sound natural and normal, we've got to memorize them, right? Now, who has a great memory? No, me either. But I'm working on it. So this is something that takes time and it takes practice. And that's what we're going to do right now is go through a process that can help you to memorize scripts. It can be something that's really consistent to where when you pick up a script, within a couple of minutes, you can have that down packed, okay? But what it all starts with is really just having the belief, really dealing with your mental side of like, I am going to own a script, right? So one of the new empowering beliefs that you can consistently say is because of scripts, I sell more houses and I earn more income. So what happens if that's your belief going into practicing a script? Far more buy-in, right, from yourself. So that's one of the things that we want you guys to focus on. I don't know if it says that in your book or not, but if not, I would write that down, is that new empowering belief of because of scripts, I sell more houses and I earn more income. Because of scripts, I sell more houses and I earn more income. If you say that to yourself 10 times before picking up a script, there's far more incentive for you to memorize it. Because of scripts, I sell more houses and I earn more income. So as I mentioned, memorization and practice leads to an internalization of scripts. And we're going to break this process down. So to really get purposeful about scripts, there are 6 steps. A 6-step process to memorization. And they are on page 7 in your book. So first starts with read. Read the first sentence of the script out loud 5 times. So when you read your script out loud, you're engaging your eyes, your voice, and your entire body. Why is it important to do that? Not just to recite it, but to engage all of the senses. Yeah, becomes ingrained in your whole body. Love it. Step 2 is to repeat the same sentence 5 times with a smile on your face. Okay, that's an easy reminder. And you'll notice a difference in your tonality when you say it with a smile. And so just really try standing in front of a mirror and noticing the difference from when you don't smile and when you do smile of reading that script. And you'll notice there's a difference in tonality. And one of the biggest challenges we have sometimes is How are we contacting people the majority of the time? Is it face-to-face? How is it? On the phone. So if we take away one of the biggest leverage points we have, right, of body language, we have to overcompensate in some of these other factors. So tonality. And one thing you'll notice, though, is if you've ever talked to somebody on the phone, you can kind of tell what energy they're bringing to that conversation, whether they're happy, they're not, they're bored. And so having a smile on your face helps somebody to feel the right energy on a phone call. And that's also why it says to use the body, because they can still tell, even though if you're, if they can't see your body language, they can still feel it through how the conversation is going, through the energy you're bringing to that call. And then number 4 is to say the script from memory. Recite the first 2 sentences 10 times with a smile. So you got to put down the script book and recite it off your memory. And if you make a mistake, then you want to start over from the beginning. Okay. And then number 5 is to say the script by adding 1 sentence at a time, repeating 10 times. And then number 6 is say the entire script as fast as you can 5 times in a row. And so your chances of stumbling when reading the script at a normal pace after you've practiced it that much are very small. Okay. So it becomes almost second nature as you've gone through those steps. So I want to pause. What questions do you guys have about this 6-step process at this point? Does it make sense? Cool. So first, I just want to get any ahas, anything that stands out to you guys about this process versus just reading through a script to try and memorize it. What do you feel like is different? Yeah. So Bryson said the amount of repetition. And Bryson, I'm just curious. Do you think there would be a difference if you did do it that many times? Yeah. And the question is, why not? Right? If we really want to go over the top and deliver an amazing experience to clients, part of that is really having a masterful conversation. And we can do that through script work, right? What else? Anything else that stood out to you about this process? Yeah, the body energy. So being able to understand a lot of the psychology behind communication is energy. And that is something that people do pick up on through a phone call. And so I really getting purposeful around what energy do I want to deliver to all these people I'm going to call today, and knowing that that energy does transfer. And it can actually help them just have a better day by how you showed up on a phone call. So that's huge. So this is the process on how to make scripts more natural, feel more normal, is by really making it second nature, and you do it through this process. So that way, instead of you having to think about what to say next, you can just be there and listen and truly be present with that other individual. And just know that the words are going to come because you have them down pat. So now that we have scripts down, we're going to practice it. So this is the activity. You're going to turn to page 8 in the guide. And you're going to complete part 1 with a partner on practicing scripts. So you're going to pick a script, which I believe those were in the toolkit. Do you guys have your toolkits with you? You didn't get one. Yeah, you weren't here the first day, so. And let me There is? Okay, cool. Sweet. So the focus is practicing the process we just learned with script implementation. So you're going to pick a script, you're going to pick a partner, and you're going to practice. Partner A stands up and follows the 6 steps with that first script. Partner B holds the partner A accountable. And then you'll switch partner roles and repeat steps 3. So go ahead and pick a script, grab your partner, and do you guys have any questions about the activity? Does it make sense? Those on Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys to another break room or break off. And you 3 will practice this together. We'll take about 10 minutes on this practice, so take 3 to 5 minutes each.
Hey, Shoney, I'm on a call.
Cool, no
May
problem.
not be able to do it.
No worries, there's 3 of you, so if one of you is on a call, the other 2 should be able to do it together. But you'll still all 3 be in a room together. Cool. And then are you 3 good to team up for the moment? Is that good with you, Bryson? Okay, cool.
I have that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can throw that in the binder.
Okay. Perfect. Hello, this is what again. Okay. Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Good. Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Good. Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Good. Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been?
Good. Very specific.
Yeah, yeah, 'cause I'm doing
Yeah.
different ones.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's why it's so important to say it over and over, is because I'm like, oh, that.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
which is good. So, that's awesome.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
And second, final one. Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Good. Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? How's the family? How's the family? How's the family? How's the family? How's your family? How's the family? How's your family? How's your family? How's your family? Hello, this is Lexi. How have you been? Good. How's the family? This is like corny, but I get why. Like,
Yeah.
it's working.
Now
So,
you notice
yeah.
it's like you don't have to look at it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to join. Definitely look at it. What script?
I like
Cool. So now you'll be able to just do first sentence 5 times. First sentence 5 times. Yeah. You heard it.
Yeah.
Second sentence before that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, it's like you guys have an idea, right? How powerful that is. And you're supposed to get the point where partner that's what you want to do is like find a partner. Hey, let me try to find a scope. The thing is, when you say those, then does become natural. It will drive into
The intro and yours was hard, but I guess you were starting to get more comfortable with that. Yeah. It was like almost like a tongue twister at first.
Yeah.
But you were good at the end. You just started slowly off.
Yeah. That's a nice part. Talk that change for whatever's you, right? So, yeah. Cool. All right, those on Zoom, let me know when you guys are back in the room.
We're back.
Great, thank you. How'd it go? Let's get some feedback from those in the room and those on Zoom. You just want to share some insight on what you learned or what you felt. Lexi and Caitlin, what did you guys notice?
I feel like I got more confident. And it felt like cheesy to just keep repeating with a smile on my face, but I feel like it definitely helped. And I knew it was going to come back. It wasn't like something.
Yeah.
I know when
You want to pick up the mic?
when I'm reading a script, I just stumble over words a lot or try to find where I was, and that makes me less confident. And I feel like since I knew it, I was more confident.
Great, thank you. Anything you'd like to add?
Smiling made a difference in the tone for sure. I
Yeah.
could, even myself could hear it once I started doing that. And it sounded less like you were reading a script and actually talking
Right.
to someone.
Yeah, the power of smiling when going through it. Any of you guys on Zoom want to share some feedback? One thing I'll say, we used to always say this in door to door, which was to not practice on money. And what we meant by that was to make sure that we're practicing our scripts before game time, right? Before they're actually important. Because there can be times where, like Lexi pointed out, it does make you feel more confident in yourself, right? And that's who people want to do business with. They want to do business with people who are confident, happy, and excited, right? And so you don't want to practice your script for the first time with a potential client where you might not come off confident because you don't know what you're saying, you don't know where you're going. And so they feel that energy, right? And So, it's just making an emphasis to really make sure you're practicing scripts beforehand, okay? Spend 15, 20, 30 minutes a day on your scripts until you get them to a point where you're comfortable enough, and keep them simple as well. Keep them very simple. And so this is a challenge that's going to help with this process. On page 9 is we're going to go ahead and talk about these tips that are going to help you to incorporate script practice into your everyday life. Okay. And then we'll also do some brainstorming on some additional options. But number 1 is to arrange a script practice partner. Spend 15 minutes each day reciting scripts. And this can be face-to-face or virtually, FaceTime, Zoom, etc. And the second is to record yourself saying your scripts on your phone and play them back while speaking along with the recording. It's another good idea. So the question is, how easy do you guys think it is to find a script partner? I think I know 2 people who might be looking for script partners. Right? So one thing that you'll realize is it's very simple to reach out and say, hey, I have a goal. I have a huge goal this year, right, that I'm headed towards. And I really want to make sure that I stick in this industry and I make it a success. I want to practice. And you'll find other agents who want to practice just as much. And so 15 minutes, it's not going to kill your day, right? 15 minutes is not a long time, but spending that time makes all the difference, okay? And then the second one is very simple, where you can do that at any point, right? And so you can record yourself reading the script. That's the nice thing. So you read the script perfectly on your phone or through video, and then you play that back as you're driving or as you're commuting and so forth, or you're in the office or at lunch break. Have that playing back to yourself where you're now trying to say it along with yourself, okay? And that one is also very powerful because you're hearing it in your own voice. And so it can also be something where it's easier to pick up, right, and to retain. What do you guys think are some additional ways you can leverage to make script practice a habit? Caitlin?
For me, one thing I'm really trying to be consistent is sticking to like my time blocking. And so where I'm at in my career, this actually is probably going to become my one thing every day until I feel more confident when I'm talking to clients and planning out what scripts I want to practice and master sooner than later based on what kind of leads I'm working with.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually putting it on the schedule, right? Making it a priority. That's awesome. Love that one. What else? What are some other ways that we can leverage to make script practice a habit? Bryson. Yeah. Right. So making accountability a part of it, right? We are creatures of habit. And so if we have something that's like kind of holding our feet to the fire, makes it a lot easier to stick to it. So picking somebody that's going to be that accountability partner, right? And also that you're going to help hold accountable. It's a two-way street. Great. That's awesome. Okay. Anybody on Zoom want to add any final thoughts on that? Cool. So let's go through a recap. If you'll turn to page 10. And remember, the goal of our time together is really to help you think, feel, and act, and use what you've learned to ignite your passion and help you achieve your big why. So these are the pillars: how you think, how you feel, how you act, and the tools, the resources. And that's what we're really focusing on in Spark 2.0. And so what we're going to take a moment here to do is to take time to reflect on what you've learned and just realize that that's an important part of your journey in real estate, is pausing, being present enough to realize what big ahas or thoughts have come to mind that are really going to support your business at the next level. And so we're going to take just 3 minutes to go ahead and write down the answers to these questions of how has your thinking changed during this session? What do you feel differently about? What was meaningful for you today? How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take? And then what tools, models, or systems will you use, and how will they make you accountable? Let's go ahead and take a couple minutes just to answer those questions. All right, about 15 seconds. Let's write down your final thoughts. Great. And we're going to just take a moment to have each of you share an aha or something that's a big takeaway for you. So, and we'll just start with Lexi and then just kind of work our way all the way back to Mary. Just share whatever stood out or whatever you learned.
I just feel like the role model understanding this, the memorization process, I just feel like it made me even more confident with just the 2 lines that I did learn. And I feel more confident to have conversations with potential clients and to just know where I'm going. And I feel like that's also going to give me more information to help the client.
Great, thank you. Caitlin.
Mine sort of ties into Lexi. My aha was I have more confidence coming into this, knowing I have the tools to help me be successful in this and successful with meeting with clients. It's just practice and time you're willing to spend on it.
Yeah, great, thank you. Good. Cool.
I think one of the things that so with that, what do you feel different about what was meaningful for today? And I think for me, it's kind of a different attitude towards scripts. In the past, they always I wouldn't really say it that way. But I think the main thing is to, once you master what it's trying to say, at that point, you can maybe tweak it a little bit to kind of have your voice a little bit more. But I think the main thing is relying on them and testing them out. If they work, great. If they don't, then maybe try a different one. So I think it's important to do the practice because that's probably the biggest reason why it fails, if it does, is you just aren't mastering it. So it maybe comes off awkward.
Totally. And something that really comes to mind when you share that is one of the biggest principles in the MREA, right? Which is models as the foundation, and then you add creativity later on. And that's what we use with scripts, is memorize the structure, right? And then you can add your own personality and do it the way that you want after. But it's really just about having that model that you can easily implement and very quickly. Thank you. Mary. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So I guess for me, during my practice time, to apply the smile, or more than that, just my state change, so that I'm projecting the right state so I'm not just running the words every day, because then when you get right down to it and you're trying to create the energy that you're looking for, it's not there for you if you don't practice with it.
Perfect. Thank you. And those on Zoom, Austin, John, Joe, would you guys be willing to share some feedback? I think I forgot to bring them back. I don't think they've been with us the entire time. Yeah, so they'll be with us in wrapping, which is fine. So on this last part, if you'll flip it to page 11, two things. Number one, I assume that all of you came to Ignite to actually create more results in your business this year, right? And what that really comes down to is, number one, identifying what am I going to implement, and then number two, taking action. And that's one of the biggest focus points of Ignite 2.0 is let's actually take action together. And so number one is you're going to do your daily success habits list. So what you're going to do is write down the tasks that you feel like you need to implement between now and Wednesday. And then you're going to go ahead and put an X on whether it's a to-do or if it's a should-do, okay? And then lastly, on the priority section, you're going to number those in level of importance. So 1 being the most important, down to 10, 15, whatever the numbers come to, being the least important. So go ahead and make that list. And then what is the priorities that you really need to make sure get done? Joe and Austin, are you back with us?
I'm back.
Cool. So we forgot about you guys. So we've been having a great conversation. We're glad you're back with us. And we're talking about creating your success list, which is on page 11 of the digital guide. And right now we're just making that list. So writing down the tasks that you feel like you should do and the to do, and labeling the priority from 1 to 10, 8, 7, whatever number of tasks you come up with. But label them in the highest priority being number 1. Just some instructions. I'll read through those. List all the tasks you could do. Ask what is the one thing I can do, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary. Identify the tasks supporting your one thing. Label them as should do and rank them in order of priority. Ask, are my tasks written as specific and observable actions, steps, rather than being written as results and outcomes? So go ahead and take 2 minutes to fill that out. All right, 30 seconds. Great. So again, the overall goal of Spark is to help you get your first appointment or your next appointment, and then help that transition into an under contract in the next 30 days. In order for that to happen, we've got to focus on the lead measures, the most important actions that are going to get us the result that we want. So Spark, goals to set your career on fire. We're going to really focus on 10-4. And one thing, again, that I'll say is that each of you came to Ignite really to amplify your business and achieve your goals. And so I'll highly encourage you to not skip this hour of Ignite 2.0. This is what you came for. This is the important factor, which is taking action, actually implementing what you've learned. And so the lead measures are our daily 10-4, which is 10 contacts added, 10 conversations today, 10 handwritten notes, and 10 home previews per week. And so to take action on that for the last hour, we're going to practice this. And these are the things that we can practice. Scripts, if you want to practice that, great. Or if you want to go ahead and start making those contacts to have those conversations. And then also following up with notes for those that you do get in contact with. And then previewing a home or two. So those are the actions that we're going to take for the next hour. And that will wrap up the third session of Spark. And for the fourth session, which will be on Wednesday, we'll be focusing on your database is your business. And so we'll really be honing in on mastering your database. But just want to encourage everybody to really get the most out of today through this last hour by doing these actions that are going to lead to the results that you want 30 to 45 days from now. Cool. Any questions as we wrap up this class, this session? Cool. Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys, those who are on Zoom. Thank you also for showing up. And I'll go ahead and close out. You are welcome to go ahead and just jump on these actions. I know you're not here in person with us, but yeah, go ahead. And if you have questions, feel free to shoot me a text or give me a call, and here to support.
Thank you, Shoney.
Yep, no problem. Thanks, Austin.